Good morning, everybody. I think it is the 23rd today, and I think this will actually be the first clip of the vlog. Oh my goodness. So, welcome to a week of me, Carri, dealing with all of the fun stuff. And ignore my little hat is like poking out in the back. We're just gonna ignore it. Right now, I am walking outside to go to the pastures to bring my horses in. It is earlier than I usually bring them in. If you guys don't know, I turn my horses out really early in the morning at like 5, and usually I bring them in between 11 and 11:30. This week in Georgia is supposed to be super hot. I think today's high is like 95, 96. Tomorrow we're supposed to get close to 100. Even though it is just 10 a.m., it is already 83, 84, and sunny with no wind. So I'm gonna bring my horses in an hour early just because yesterday I brought them in at like 11 and a few of them were sweaty. I'm gonna try bringing them in earlier for these next couple days, and then I think the temps will get back to like upper 80s, but higher chance of rain. But it's really the when does it get hot type thing. I already took in my first ones. I'm walking out to grab Sweet Pea. Sloan is over there, so he's the last one to come in with Minnie. My plan is I'm going to do a very light ride on Sloan, which basically just means I'm going to do equicore because I can walk him and it's still really beneficial, but you have to be very careful with horses and heat because horses get like 3 times hotter than a human. If you think it's hot, a horse really thinks it's hot when it's being ridden. Grab Sweet Pea. I'll check back in with you guys probably when I'm on Sloan. Well, everybody, we have Mr. Sloan right here, and Sloan is hopefully going to be good because he's had some opinions lately, and hopefully we'll be nice and calm because yeah, he's been feeling himself a little bit lately, and that's just because he's been having more issues. So I haven't been able to walk him the same amount as I like to walk him. Hopefully he's good while I'm recording. If not, you might see my phone fly one direction and I fly the other direction, but he seems okay. So right now it is 89, I think. It's 10:50, so it's 89. And the feels like is about 98 because if you've never lived in the South doesn't just have heat, we have high humidity. It's pretty normal that every day is going to be humid. Feels like it's like 97, 98. There's no breeze whatsoever. It is perfectly sunny outside, but I've gotten asked before, like, girl, how do you survive the summertime? A lot of people will ride their horses like first thing in the morning, like 6, 7 a.m. I can't do that because I am typically doing my barn and cleaning stalls, putting horses outside. And if you don't know, my horses go out from 5 a.m. to about 11. Today I brought them in earlier because of just how hot it is, but I don't do night turnout because none of my horses really can do night turnout because of the fact that I do a lot of horses that have issues. A lot of these horses, well, I've got quite a few that have eyesight issues and are blind. And then I also have horses that really should not be going outside on grass for probably more than 6 hours, which is what they go outside for. And one of that reason is because it's almost like a diabetic person, or they have problems, I guess you would kind of say, like insulin and stuff, where they can't handle a lot of sugar. Grass has a lot of sugar, so we really can't turn them out for long periods of time because if we do, it could result in them getting something called founder or laminitis, which is essentially where their bone in their foot will sink and rotate, and a lot of times horses have to be put down because of it, but it's mainly caused by like spikes in sugar, things like that cause inflammation to the feet. I don't do night turnouts. Sloan hates night turnouts. I've never met a horse that hates it more than Sloan. They're very happy with their routine and everything. Because of their turnout time and then me working, I have to usually ride about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock is my ride time, about lunchtime. So what I do in the summertime is I have this fancy little system right here, which is basically a band that goes around Sloan's butt, and then there's one that goes under his stomach. And I have my big hat on. Sorry guys, it is bright, and if you guys don't know, I think you guys should know if you've seen me before, I have baby blue eyes, and it is amazing how, like, it doesn't even have to be sunny like today, but if it's cloudy and there's like even the thought of a sun ray I can't see. So I'm always in sunglasses. The good thing about the band system that Sloan has on, it goes underneath the tummy and then around the butt. So it's like resistant band training for people, but in horse form. And so the good thing is you don't even have to trot to get a workout in. You could literally just walk your horse for what I do. I walk my horse 15 minutes, equal on both sides. And that's really a good workout. Like, because you can tighten the bands, you can make them really loose, like you can do whatever. Some people do full workouts. Sloan can't handle full workouts with some of his health issues. He's just a horse that would get really sore from doing full workouts in it. So we do walking, and that is the best thing to do on these really hot days. I do it when the ring is like really wet and I don't have a lot of space. I do it if I'm really tired or only have like 20 minutes to ride, because it's just very much like get on, walk, turn around, walk, you're done. And it's good with the heat. They don't get hot per se, like breathing heavy, having a lot of sweat. It's just like a good, it's kind of like you taking a walk. Like, you're gonna get your heart rate up, you're getting outside, you're moving around, you're not doing enough to like cause damage, is what I would say. Like, they don't get heat stroke or really hot from doing this, because it's basically the same as if they were just walking around. Only difference is I'm on them and we have this system. Oh my gosh, why does it look like I low-key have a mullet? Alright everybody, I'm back inside. If you can't tell, I might be having a bad hair day. I really can't put words into it. I just got done taking a shower, but I'm back inside. It is, I think, 94 outside? 95? I can't tell. Oh, here you go. It is 94 with a feels like of 102. And there's no wind, so that's really not that fun. But I just got done taking care of Freya and Two Bits not that long ago, because if you guys don't know, Freya and Two Bits go out differently than the rest of my horses, because Freya has this like paddock that actually attaches to her stall. My pathway to let my horses out in the morning goes right next to Freya's. When I first opened the barn, I used to put them out at the same time, but it was so hard walking the horses next to Freya, because Freya would like run around, which would then cause me to get hurt. So long story short, she goes out at a separate time because of the fact that she just has to. Like, it was driving me crazy. She thought it was the best thing ever, and I was like, this is not the best thing ever. So I just got done doing them. Because of the heat, I hose them off when I let them outside, and then I had to clip Two Bits some more, which is her little mini friend. He has some problems with like sweating and whatnot, so we try and keep him really clipped. I hosed him off as well. And then the good thing is, because of how this is situated, her barn actually opens up, and if they didn't want to be outside in the heat, they can go directly in her stall, and it has like an exhaust fan, it has another fan, it actually is insulated. Whenever I see them outside and I see them standing in the sun when it's hot, I'm like, evidently it must not bother them, because they have an option to be out of it, but they would rather be in it. But I've been spending a little bit more time, like every single day, hosing them off, like I said, clipping them, all that type of stuff, just to keep them comfortable and whatnot, because tomorrow is supposed to be like 100 degrees, I think. That has been pushing back my times a little bit later, but I'm back upstairs. It's 3:42. Sloan got his ride done, all that fun stuff. And so basically on the agenda this week, I did end up getting a website order. I don't know if I had mentioned this, but I did get a website order for a Vaporeon. So last night I went ahead and started working on the Vaporeon. So I painted these eyes. I did them a little bit different. The first Vaporeon I used yellow, like gold in here as well. This one I just did like gold, which I think looks way better. The yellow was just like really, really bright. So I got the head done last night, got the body, and then I also got the arms and stuff. Probably later today, I'll continue to work on them. I put on my website typically like 1 to 3 weeks with plushies. I think it's been like 4 or 5 days. So my plan is to either have it done and shipped out tomorrow or done and shipped out Wednesday. Probably Wednesday being the latest because I'm still very within my time that I give myself. The last video when I ended, I was like, oh guys, we're gonna finish Belle. Belle's still right here. Pretty much as you guys can tell, the biggest thing that I need to do with Belle is basically come back through and just fix the bangs so they lay flat. And then I'll also probably crochet. I don't know if I'll use acrylic or if I'm gonna use Chanel, but maybe I'll use Chanel. Just do it chains and everything to kind of give the bun an accent. And then Belle will be done. I did go ahead the other day and start on another Disney princess, but it hasn't been my main priority. The next one I have is Rapunzel. The funny thing about dolls, which always makes me laugh, is like when you are just starting them, and especially it's even like this, it is a work of progress, guys, because they look really ugly until they're literally finished. Like, I don't know if there's ever a step in between where they look good until the end, and so they always look so like, I don't know. The first dolls I made, which was technically recently, would have been Snow White. I didn't do any type of face shaping because I really wasn't that big into face shaping. Like, girl, I should have just put the extra effort in and done face shaping, because now pretty much I would say a vast majority of the projects I do all have face shaping. Just like the dolls, like you can see the difference. This is a doll without any type of face shaping, right? And then I'll also include a photo of Aurora so you can see how I did hers. The only thing is I find with dolls, it is a little bit harder to be as consistent with face shaping. Like for me, when I do like dogs and stuff or any of the animals, it's super easy because I'm pretty much like, I don't know, it's like more, a lot of them usually have the increases and you're doing the eyes, and then it's really easy to just do the face shaping around the increases. The dolls are a little bit harder because it's just like continuous rounds, so the shaping is a little bit harder. Then as you can tell for our Belle right here, you can kind of see on the side profile, I did some shaping to kind of give this nose appearance, which you can see on the front view, which I think helps a ton. And then this one, I did a little bit different eyebrows than I did Aurora. I think Aurora, I had the eyebrows coming from the middle section off. This one, I ended up bringing the eyebrows around almost the full part of the eye, which I think I like better. I don't know, I'm gonna have to play around with it a little bit. And then she does have this little nose right here. I technically do, I believe my nose higher than the pattern. The pattern that I follow, which is by Finnick Toys, has the nose down here, which I don't love. I like it to be a little bit higher, so that's what I do. She has like makeup that she puts on hers. I don't typically do that because the reality is these guys usually go in a bag, they're going to markets. I don't know how well that would hold up. If it was like a display piece that I was making for myself, I think, yeah, probably I'd maybe put a little glam on. I don't know. And then my mother always asks me, she's like, what about a smile? And I don't know, when I look at them, I think a smile would be so creepy. I don't know. But I'm gonna have Belle done. I just don't know when, but I'm gonna hold it to myself that hopefully by the end of this video, I'll be able to show you guys the completed Belle, because like literally, I think all I need to do is put like 40 more minutes in this. Like there's a few spots on the back I might tack a little tighter. I don't have much more to do, I just keep pushing it off. So Rapunzel is going to be next on the list. I've just been slowly working through her. I've actually started the hair, but I'm trying to think why. I think my hand was hurting, and the hair is like a lot of chaining 50 and then working back down. I stopped and then I got distracted by other things, which is pretty common. I am going to be doing more Disney princesses. There's a lot of Disney princesses that I have on my list that I actually way more wanted to do besides Rapunzel, but I did not have any teddy bear, I think it is, from Premiere, which is really funny because I'm usually really good about colors, but there's actually quite a few colors that I got, like, I guess I didn't really think about needing them, but I do need them. And teddy bear is not available right now, so I'm kind of waiting until teddy bear comes available again, and then I'll buy a ton, and then I can make like Tiana, I think is how you're saying, from Princess and a Frog, like Moana, and then I want to do Pocahontas. Actually, I would probably say out of all of the Disney princesses, my favorite, I'm not a huge Disney princess person, just as an FYI, but I would say my favorite would either be Pocahontas or Mulan. Those are like my two. Maybe it's because they're like really bad, like they're a little bit tougher than the others. I don't know, but Pocahontas, that is a comfort movie for me. I can watch that like so many times. Pocahontas and Mulan are probably the only Disney movies that I've watched like on repeat. Oh, my apologies. She's not a Disney princess, but I also absolutely love Meg from Hercules. Like Pocahontas, Hercules, and then Mulan are like the three Disney movies that I could always watch and never get tired of. Hercules is a bop. I don't know. The music in Hercules is like, I love it. I love it. Back onto the plushies. I got distracted. So Vaporeon is on the list to finish up. I am completely done with pattern tests, which is really crazy to think about. I know Pebbles is going to be releasing a new pattern soon, so I'll apply to do that one and everything, but it's really weird to be like all of a sudden having no pattern test again, because then it just is like, what do I want to do? I have gone ahead and drafted out the beginning stages of my market prepping list. So we have this one, and then there's also a continuation onto the back. The items that I've already completed from this have been 4 of my frogs. This was for a pattern test. I went ahead and made 4 for the market, 4 mini pigs, 10 baby turtles, 6 of the mini sharks, 3 pink unicorns, 2 purple unicorns, and then the last couple days I've been working through the little mini dogs I do that are by Jenny Loopdo. I've done 2 caramel, 2 brown, 2 black, and then I'll finish up the corgis probably tomorrow. Yeah, I think I'll have at least this little bit of a section, but there is so many items, and I know this isn't all of them. Like, because even today I was doing something and I was like, I really need to make more of that, and I haven't even written it down. We're gonna keep working through trying to just get the list a little bit smaller. And this also doesn't include the plushies that I probably do need to have for the store, because I'm still in a store. I always forget to mention that. I still have one store that I work out of, or I have my items in. It's just, I try and give them a lot at one time so I don't have to bring a lot for a couple months. That typically works better for me than bringing small amounts in, because I don't really operate that way. I did end up completing this pattern test. This is a pattern test for the amazing and super talented Loops and Knots Crochet, which is Sarah. By the time this video comes out, you guys can go ahead and get your own version of the sitting puppy. I can't remember if she said she's doing a YouTube video for it in the future, like a tutorial, but I do know the PDF is going to be out by the time this video comes out. I was a little stuck. At first I was going to do a husky, and then I ended up going like, oh, let's do a Dalmatian. So I did end up doing this Dalmatian, which is so funny because I don't know how many times I mentioned this. I don't love bringing white plushies. This has so much white. Moving forward, whenever I do my next couple markets, I'm putting any plushies that have a lot of white on them or full white right next to me, so that way I can tell people not to touch them. I feel like that is going to be the best thing. Like, I'm going to put dark colored items like browns, blacks at the front of the table, and then the white, lighter colored items, more expensive items near me, so that way I can tell people not to touch it unless they're really interested, because I can't tell you how many plushies I put up at the front, and then like you get those drive-by people that just like walk by and grab them, and I'm always like, okay, so gotta cut away any light colored white plushies, gotta keep them really far away from the front of the table. So this guy will probably be sitting next to me so he doesn't get dirty. And then the plan for me is, today has been a little slow. It's been a little weird just because of the weather. I've had to change my riding around, like bringing in and everything. So I feel like today has just been weird. But I have 4 of these little paws right here to make another cat. So this is the new cat pattern that I'm doing, and I want to tell you guys who it's by so you can get it if you want. The only thing I'll say is I have not, well, I brought this cat pattern to my last market and did not sell any. I had 2. I had my tuxedo one and I had an orange and white one, but it was really difficult because of how that market was. It was really hard for me to get like a read on what was popular because I feel like some items that didn't get any attention, I feel like if I had brought them to like my normal market, they would have. So I can't really go off of that market as like a good indication of what people are looking for, because I don't even think people knew what they were looking for, if I'm being honest. But this is by Lily Fern Crochet, and I think this one was the calico one. I probably will end up remaking this because, as you can tell, this isn't super orange. It's kind of like, it's a little bit lighter than terracotta, but it's kind of in that same thing. It's not as red as terracotta, it's more of a brown. So I think while it's still super cute, I don't know if it's really giving like calico, I think is what it was. So I probably will go back and remake this to be orange, like tangerine, but maybe I can use the peach from Hobby because I feel like tangerine is like a little too bright. But I did give him these blue eyes that I have. I think it turned out super cute. In total, I'm trying to bring 8 for my next market, which is kind of crazy to bring for a pattern that I don't know is gonna sell, but I'm gonna put my hope in it because I personally think they're a lot cuter than loaf cats. And if you guys don't know, I haven't made a loaf cat in about like 6-7 months. There is not a desire in my body to ever make a loaf cat again. Loaf cats are up there with Mabel the chickens. I'm not doing it. Somebody else could do it, not me. So this is gonna be my new cat pattern. I'm hoping maybe next market I'll be able to get a better idea. But I'm gonna make a black one. I'm just kind of making like a variety of colors because I really don't know what people are looking for, and it's kind of like, I don't even know. So I have this. I think my plan for the rest of the night, like I said, I'm gonna work on the black cat and then I'll switch over to Vaporeon at some point. And that'll probably be all I do because I just don't have a lot of time since it's already almost 4. I'm having to change my times when I go out to do the barn to like 8:30 or 9 with the heat. So I just don't know how much more crocheting I'm gonna get if I'm gonna be honest. I also want to show you guys, a couple days ago, I made a post on Instagram about how people store their safety eyes because I have a bad problem when it comes to personal pieces that I use where if I'm making like an order or something, I'll make a couple safety eyes for myself and then I put them aside and totally forget they're there. Like, I'll just be like in a totally different world and then I'm like, man, I swear I painted those eyes, and then I can't find them. Sometimes I find them, sometimes I don't. So I got this ring box off of Amazon that I'm now gonna be storing my eyes in. So right now I just have some of my Starlights and then my Furies because I use these a lot for the cats. And so when I was like, okay, I'm gonna make all these cats, I went ahead and prepped 3, and then these were the same eyes that I did for Vaporeon and 35s. I didn't know if I needed 35s or 30, which I ended up needing 30s, and I don't use 35s that much. So I gotta find something. But I wanted to show you guys. I think it's literally just like a jewelry ring container, but this is gonna be great because now I can store them somewhere. I won't lose them, and it'll give me more incentive to make more at one time because honestly, one of the things that dictates what I make is if I have to paint safety eyes or not. There's a lot of times I'll be like, oh, I really need to make this, but I'm like, but I really don't feel like painting safety eyes today. I'm hoping this will inspire me to make a lot at one time, have them, it'll be a lot easier to get them. That way I can just grab them and go. I'm undecided if I'll do gold or green. I have a feeling I'll probably end up going with gold for the black one, but we're gonna see. I'm gonna get started crocheting and then I'll check in with you guys once I have an update. Well, good morning everybody. It is now the 24th and I'm checking on in the morning. I feel like morning is when I should check on because my room isn't as dark, especially with how sunny it's been. Like, we haven't been having a lot of rain, so morning is usually pretty bright here in the crochet room, which is so funny because I don't spend the mornings up here. I mentioned this before. in the mornings I go downstairs and that's where I crochet because of the fact that my horses are outside. Sorry if the angle changed, I had to delete stuff off my camera. I crochet downstairs in the morning because my horses are outside, and that way if for whatever reason I have to go run outside and grab them, I see them. I can't see my horses from my crochet room. I can see Freya and Two Bits, but I don't see the pastures that way. And especially right now with like the heat and everything, well, it's just funny, they do this all year round. I feel like my horses just, they communicate with me. Don't think I'm crazy, but like if they want to come inside because it's like super hot or the bugs are out, or like in the winter time when it's raining a ton and it's really cold and windy, they want to come inside, they will all either run the fence line, very cute, or they will sit at the gates and like bang the gates. And I'm like, okay guys, I'm coming. So today is supposed to be, I think, pretty steamy here in Georgia. This is actually supposed to be like the hottest day out of the 3 we have, like temp wise. It's supposed to be about 97, 98 today. And I know we're under a heat advisory. It's 8:13 and it's already 75, which 75 with 93% humidity is kind of fun, but by 11 a.m. it's supposed to already be 90 degrees almost. I'm planning on bringing my horses in early again. I'll probably bring them in at like 10. I mean, by 10 it's supposed to be 83, so that'll probably be the safest bet, is to bring them in about that time. And then I need to go, I don't really want to, but I need to go somewhere today to pick up something that's about 30 minutes away. So I think that probably what I'll do is I will bring in, drive over there, hopefully beat some of the like crowd because it is summertime. So I feel like, you know, in the normal time of the year when school's happening, mornings are really busy and afternoons, but then now that we're in summertime, it's like middle of the day is when everyone starts waking up, and oh my gosh, I don't have that energy to deal with that many people. So I think that's my plan, but I wanted to come on here and show you guys the cat that I ended up finishing up last night. I'm a little undecided how I feel about having this pink, just because I'm worried it might be like too bright. But I finished up this black cat, so I can't remember which color this is, the Premier. I think it's like bubblegum, because it's not the light one, it's not the super bright one, but it's like the in-between. So I can't remember what it's called, but it's the in-between shade. And then I did end up opting for gold eyes, as you guys can see. I don't know if you guys can see the texture of this yarn. Let's give it, I think you can kind of see it there. This time Honey Bunny did me dirty. Honey Bunny did me dirty because I bought like 10 skeins of black, and this is how they all are. Luckily, it's not as bad as some yarn. I have gotten particularly, this is like the first time I've had problems with Honey Bunny, but particularly with Premier, I have gotten a lot of very bad yarn. And really, it's like starchy and rough and coarse, and it's physically painful to crochet with. This one wasn't that bad, like it's not good, but I didn't start having pain until I was almost done with it. But there have been some skeins of the Premier yarn that is just like horrendous. I actually end up throwing them away because it's like honestly so painful that it brings me to tears. I've had some problems with like key lime. I actually think the key lime that I have in my closet is bad. White, I've had problems with some of the grays. I'm trying to think, what is it? It's one of the reds. I think, is it Cardinal that I think I've had issues with? So there's just been some that is just not good. This one isn't like, I actually can show you a comparison. So this is the one that I just used. Let me see, it is black, so my camera. You can kind of see it, like it's a little bit more frayed, got a different texture to it. And it almost reminds me, like I can tell when black is like a little bit iffy because it almost looks a little bit more velvety to me. Because I had brought this over because I had told myself that if it got really painful, I would just use this, but I kind of want to use this for something else. This is the Premier black, and as you can see, it is a lot smoother. It doesn't have as much texture. Premiere, I guess, pulled it out on that one. Now I have to decide what other colors, like I might remake the black one and then use a softer pink for the ears and then maybe gray for the toes. I don't really know because it really wouldn't stand out that much. So I have to think about that. And then I need to think about a couple other colors. I think I was shooting for like 8 to 10 to bring to the market. So with that one and then my other two, I've got 4 right now. I just need to decide, like, do I want to remake some colors to have multiples? I'm not certain. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, I definitely won't have all these guys done by the time I'm done editing this video. And then as well, I'm a little stumped as to what to do with this yarn. So Robin from Sweet Beans was selling this yarn, and it is the Burnett Sheepy, which you guys know I am not a Burnett girly, but I love trying new textures of yarn. Like I really badly want to get the Himalaya koala because I really want to do a lot of fur, but I'm trying, like it's so hard because I feel like some people can buy yarn with like a specific project in mind. I'm like not that person. I like buy a ton of yarn and then a project like comes up that I want to do and then I'm like, okay, let me grab the yarn. So it's really hard for me because there's a lot of colors and I just don't have like a specific thing that I want to buy the fur for, but I really want to get it because I know I'll use it because I really enjoy working with different textures. And I can tell you, as somebody who's done the markets, as annoying as it is, different textures sell well. Every single market I have gone to, all of my large items with Feels Like Bliss have sold. That include my cow last time. I think I sold that one for like $70 or $75. My foxes, my raccoons. Pretty much everything I've made with Feels Like Bliss has sold except for small items. All of my larger items, they move like right away. That's been that case before with other like furs and things I've used. So I definitely want to keep experimenting with different textures because I think it's just like one of those things, like particularly for me, I have never gone to another market where people are using a lot of Feels Like Bliss. I understand. It's a more expensive yarn. It's a pain to work with. I've gotten to the point where like it's not that hard anymore. Like I don't have to really sit there and think a lot about it, but I do a lot of Feels Like Bliss stuff. So it is like kind of one of those things, the more you do it, the more it just becomes like second nature. But a lot of people around me don't use it. So then like when people come to my booth, they're always like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this before. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, most people don't want to work with it. So I got this and I got it in the brown color too, because I was like, okay, I've seen this before. I have wanted it before and I like the different texture, but I'm really stuck on what to make. I have one skein of this. I have one skein of the brown. I'm assuming this is still being manufactured. Like I could still go get it. I know it's not something that you would like see on the shelf of a store. Like I've never seen it in store before. So I need something that will kind of like not exceed maybe one skein, just until like I don't want to go out and buy a ton of it right away. So let me know if you guys have any recommendations as to what I should make with the 2 skeins of the sheepy I have. Just think in your mind like unusual patterns. Like I've asked people for suggestions before and everyone's go-to is like Lucky Frogs, Loaf Cats, Mabel the Chickens, and y'all know if you have been watching me for a long time, I am just not about that. If you guys have any ideas of like animals in particular that you feel like would work really well with those yarns, let me know. I was kind of thinking like sheep, but I don't know if the colors would work and it might be too much because usually sheep patterns have a lot of bobble stitches. So I just don't know. I don't know if you would really notice the bobble with that yarn. That's another thing that I always have to think about when working with different textures is like how noticeable will things be with a textured yarn, because like if you work with full fur, a lot of times if you have a lot of increasing or whatever techniques to try and create like ripples or anything like that, the fur kind of takes away from it because it's just furry. I mean, you don't see the same details that you would with a Chanel yarn. That's always a hard thing. So let me know if you guys have any suggestions there. Now to update you on the Vaporeon, I did not get it done. But I got good progress. So last night I finished up the body and everything. I do have the 2 arms. I'm starting to prefer sewing them on after I put the head on. I used to do everything and then I used to do everything with the head and then I would sew it, but
I've started separating them. We'll see if I end up doing that. But I got this. Little arms are already done. I just have to do them. And then the head, we're still at the same part. Basically the head, I need to do the white eye outline that goes around this blue right here. And then I have to do the 3 head pins and then just sew everything. So I will definitely have this done tonight and it will ship out tomorrow morning. Well, it is 8:23. I am going to record a video for TikTok, maybe 2 videos, I'm undecided, but I'll get my recording done for the morning and then I'm gonna head downstairs and I'm gonna work to finish up the corgis on my list because that's one of the big things that I still need to do. I think I have like half a corgi done up here. I have already made one, I know that, and I have half a corgi, and then I was starting the 3rd corgi yesterday, which those are the last 3 that I need to make for the market. So I'm gonna work on that this morning. I don't know if I'll have time before having to bring in, but we'll see. And guess what, guys? Still haven't finished Belle.
I know you guys might get sick and tired of seeing me not crocheting. My neighbor, I think, is pressure washing. But I love my property in the spring, summer. Like, it's just amazing how pretty it is with, you know, like everything green. And since we have so many trees being here in Georgia, it's just so pretty compared to the winter time. Winter's just straight up depressing.
I'm sorry everybody, we're on my phone because my camera died. And I haven't hooked it up yet to charge it again, so I'm checking in on my phone. It's 10:15, so a girl needs to get ready to go to bed because I think I've mentioned this many times. I get up typically between usually 4:45. If I have a lot of work, I'll get up at like 3:40, but I don't love doing that because I get really bad migraines when I do that just because I'm not sleeping. Like, I always kind of had a headache just because I don't sleep that much. I do actively try to be in bed by 10:30, 11 at the latest. I don't like to do it. Like I said, I really, even sometimes like 10:30 is what I would say is that, like, I wouldn't recommend my sleep schedule for anybody. I don't even know if I necessarily would recommend it for myself, but because I have been doing it for so long, definitely when I opened my barn, I was not this early. I used to be on a much better sleep schedule, but as time has gone on, the sleep has gone really away. I don't recommend it for everybody. But when you do it 365 days a year, I never get any breaks. I never get to sleep in or any of that type of stuff. I feel like your body like adjusts to it as best as it can. But I do at least try and be in bed by 10:30. So I'm pretty much done for the crocheting tonight. I wanted to show you guys that. I did end up getting a Vaporeon done. This is the first Vaporeon I've made. This fin does stand up. It wants to curl. This is the first Vaporeon I've made since my original Vaporeon in December, and it's really crazy to think that this little Vaporeon, or the one that I originally had, kind of kickstarted a lot of things for me. It got me into pattern testing. I got to meet some amazing people. Like, I got to connect with Pebbles, which then has turned into me being able to pattern test her and we talk and everything. That also gave me confidence to be able to apply for more pattern testing. So it's really weird to think that the Vaporeon that I made in December like really changed my life in a positive way just by meeting so many more people and being willing to put myself out so much more. I was very touched to be able to make another Vaporeon for an order. I'm gonna get that one shipped out tomorrow because that is my last pending website order. Technically, I do have like one more custom that I need to reach out to the person for, but it's like I don't really have the right yarn and I really don't feel like doing it right now, and it's so what I know. I feel like not that bad if I keep pushing it off. I feel like people I know, I'm like, oh yeah, you want to push it off some more? yeah, keep pushing off it. But I'm gonna head to bed. Tomorrow we're gonna see what we're gonna accomplish, because now I don't really have a set thing and I have no pattern test, so it's kind of gonna be whatever I want, which is always a really weird feeling. Which it's not really whatever I want, it's whatever I need to get done from market prepping. And yeah, I don't really know what that's gonna be. So I'm gonna head off to bed. I always post one more TikTok and YouTube video at this time before I go to bed. I will get that edited and uploaded as well. So typically by the time I'm done editing, that puts me at 10:30. And the fun thing is I always set my alarm clocks 20 minutes ahead. So, you know, 4:45 is not 4:45. But I will check in with you guys tomorrow and we'll see what we make.
All right, guys, I'm going to show you this because we are starting to get somewhere. I think the last time I showed you, I still had a lot of stuff. I donated most of my horse stuff that I didn't need anymore. I found a therapeutic place that I donated a ton of stuff. Most of the remaining stuff I have is like this. I just need to go through it. It's just random things. Some is paperwork for the barn, all that type stuff. I moved that shelf over here. This cabinet I'm gonna leave because I've got different types of medication, like this needs to go in there. It's just full of syringes. So I'm gonna keep horse meds in here, probably documents, bookkeeping will go in here as well. I used to have a lot of trophies and whatnot, but I don't really need that. I don't really do anything with them. That's that. I'm gonna move my very select 3, 4, 5 horse things right here. This will basically be my little area that I can have for just, I mean, I don't take up much space at all. I'm gonna get another shelf. I don't think it will be as high because of my AC unit and my control, whatever temp control thing. So it'll probably be a little lower, like maybe here or here to put right here. And then this table I'll clean up. I don't know, I mean, I can use it for probably some packing, but it is pretty small, but it is like screwed into my wall, so I can't really move it. So probably I will have to get like a normal flip out table, maybe to put in the middle or something to pack orders. And then besides that, the rest of this is going to be storage. I definitely feel like now with like clearing everything and seeing how things are gonna go, I don't think it's unreasonable to believe that I'm gonna be able to do everything out of here. I definitely think though, like there's no way all of the yarn will be able to be stored in here, but my hope is with all of this room and whatnot, I at least won't have to get as expensive as a storage unit, nor as large. It's kind of a rule of thumb, a 30 by 10 space where I live, if it's like controlled, everything is gonna run you between like $350 to $500 a month, which is a little much. Versus I can have this. Once I can actually put everything down, I'm gonna have a better like idea on what type of space or size I need. But realistically, I'm not gonna need the same amount of space I need before, so hopefully it'll be a little bit less. And then since, of course, this is in my barn, I also don't have to pay for this, which is great. Ideally, if this goes well, if the yarn goes well, and if I just keep expanding it and it keeps growing and growing over time, I will have to move into a warehouse type of situation. Like this is only so big, and if it got to the point where I was hiring a lot of outside help, you know, it's just gonna be, how does this business grow? Where does it go? All that type of stuff. I had looked a few times at like warehouses. First of all, they were a little bit more space than I needed just starting out. I think like the smallest warehouse was like 1,200 to 1,000 feet, something like that was like the smallest. And pretty much any warehouse space around me, the cheapest I could find was about 1,500 to 2,000, and that didn't include a lot of extra things like electricity, water. So I was like, oh heck no. This is gonna be more work for me, especially when the yarn is delivered, because I'll be having to unload everything into here, and then I'll be having to drive it to another area to then unload it into another thing. So in that regards, it is going to be more work, but I think it will be, I'll figure it out, you know? So like I got many other choices. But I want to show you this because I hadn't shown you it since it got cleaned. Yes, there's still a few more things that need to be, you know, put away and stuff. I do have about 18 days, and the amount of things that I have to do, I could easily come in here and get it done in like 30 minutes. Like, it's nothing compared to what it was when I first started, and this room was like full of boxes and boxes because I mainly use this as a storage place. I didn't use it as an office. Now that I'm done giving you that, I'm gonna go ride, and I'll check in with you guys later to record the last video to show you guys some things I've crocheted. Guys, you are never gonna believe it. It happened again. I forgot to record. Oh my goodness, girl, I can't believe it. In my defense, I was doing really good with recording, and then we actually had one of the horses at the barn get sick. Once that horse got sick, it really like threw me off. The big thing is, because as you guys know, I do so much work with older horses in particular. That is like my thing, is I do a lot of work with retirement horses, or essentially like hospice horses. I don't have any hospice horses in right now because I guess I don't know how to say this without it coming off like bad, but the hospice horses have of course passed. I don't have any hospice horses in my facility right now, but I do have all my retired horses. And one of the horses ended up getting sick, and I couldn't really figure out why. Of course, anytime you have a horse or animal that is older, this one being over 30 years old, you get a little bit more nervous and a little bit more worried when you do have situations arise, just because it's not the same as a younger horse or younger, you know, animal getting sick. You have more complications and challenges. Luckily, everything seems to be okay. I think for the most part we should be pretty good. I mean, I can't see how there's anything else that would come up, but that did just like kind of throw me off for a couple days, and then I just got tired. And then I forgot to record my camera. I mean, I forgot to charge my camera, which is like the most common theme. And then as I was editing this video, I realized, girl, I never recorded an outro. So here is my outro. I'm trying to think, what was I telling you guys last? So I did end up finishing the Vaporeon. I used 35mm eyes on this one because I think I had mentioned this. I had painted 30s and 35mm because I had gotten a website order for Vaporeon, and I couldn't remember what I had used before, honestly. So I ended up painting 35s and 30s, and of course I ended up using the 30s for the website order, and I still had the 35s, and 35 is not a size I usually use. Honestly, I think the only plushie that I make that actually I use 35mm on are my Clubs the Clown. Everything else is usually 30mm. Like if I ever had to suggest somebody to get safety eyes like in this particular style and everything, I think I would always tell them 30mm are my go-to, and then I don't really use 25 too much. Like I've used some 25s. 20s are pretty good. Like I feel like 20s and 30s. My 20s I use on items like this. So like my little kitty cats that I have been doing recently, these are by Lily and Fern. You can find this pattern on Etsy. I do some slight modifications, especially with the colors, because my colors and then my increasing and stuff never lines up to hers. But that's the cat pattern I've been using. I use 20mm on these guys. This is my Fury one that I have for this little kitty. Items like my little fox here that I did as a pattern test are 30. I typically would say, like, if I had to suggest a size for anybody, 30s and 20s are like the eyes that I use by far the most. I do have 18s. I don't offer 18s because I don't love
painting smaller eyes, like even 20s. I don't love it. You have to be like really particular, and I feel like the larger the eye that you use, the more details you can get in. That's my only thing. It's one of the reasons I don't do many 18s, is because when I paint 18s, it's such a small area, same thing with like 20s, that you can only put so much different contrasting glitters. It's just, you don't really have as much. Versus when you get into the 30s, you get into the 35s, you have so much clear space that you can do a lot more with the eye. Long story short, if you ever want to get painted safety eyes, whether it's from me or whether it's from somebody else, I highly would recommend, if you're just starting out, 30s are really good. If you're making any larger size plushie, like if you were going to make any of Pebbles plushies, anything like that, I think pretty much almost all of my plushies back here are, yeah, I'm pretty certain all of the plushies back here except my clubs are 30 millimeters. Long story short, if you want to ever get painted safety eyes, 30 millimeters are really good. If you're more of a person who does more smaller work, or if you prefer a smaller eye, 20s and 25s are pretty good, but 20 to 25, there is a big size difference between those two in my opinion. So I got that Vaporeon done. I ended up actually selling my Ampharos, which I was really surprised that it sold that quickly. I feel like a lot of people actually do like that Pokemon. I'm trying to figure out what Pokemon people like, because the Pokemon I like aren't necessarily the same as what other people like. So I did sell that one that I had done for a pattern test for Pebbles. I can't remember if I showed you guys. If not, I will include the video of me packing it up and everything. Got that one sent off the other day. Since I already had it made, it was like I could just put it in the box and then ship it out the next morning. I did finish up Belle. I can't remember if I showed you guys. I'm gonna show you guys, just be careful. So I did end up finishing up Belle. We got her done, guys. So I ended up putting this little yellow band right here, and then of course doing the hair. I've mentioned this multiple times. When I do doll work and I do hair, I use glue, which is definitely a very common theme. I think if you do any type of doll work, you'll see most of the time people will use glue. Specifically, I feel like for laying down the strands of hair, it works super nice because you can just do it pretty seamlessly. The glue that I use for any of my plushies is this Super Fabri-Tech glue. They sell them in sizes like this, or I also have a few of like this size, because I feel like this size is really good when I do eye details, because when I do the embroidery stuff for my plushies, I do usually add like a little glue if I'm doing any black details, just like when I do like the eyelashes and stuff. I always add a little bit of glue because I have had multiple times, especially if plushies are going to kids in particular, where people will pull at the embroidery, and if you pull and pull and pull, you can loosen the embroidery. So I do add a little bit of glue to reinforce my embroidery. I actually had that problem with a plushie the other day that I did, where I fully embroidered it, sewed it off the whole thing. I didn't use any glue, and I was looking at one of the pieces and I had embroidered pretty tight, and I was like, you know, I wonder if somebody could pull this, and I sat there and I picked it and it pulled out a little bit, so I added a little glue and tried to push it back in. But that's what I do. I do use glue. If you get this stuff, I would recommend not getting the largest size. I actually did have the bottle. The problem with the bottle is the nozzle is really big, so it's not very good for detailed work, and it dries out super quickly. So I would recommend this. I got these off Amazon. They were like in a pack of like 12, and the only problem was when I was doing the doll work, I would use so many of them on the hair details that I ended up getting this one, which is a little bit bigger and not as bad. For the hair details, the nozzle isn't as big. So I'll usually do this for the main bulking of the hair and figure out where I'm going to lay it out, and then I'll come back in with this one and do the fine details. And I do recommend that if you're going to be doing any hair work with dolls, I just have a lot of sewing needles because my mother used to sew, and one of my goals maybe next year, as I figure out what Traveling Pony is going to be with Knotty Pony being involved, I'd like to attempt to sew. So that would be kind of cool. I really want to make sewn plushies. Like, I don't know. I feel like making sewn plushies with like memorial pieces of people's clothing would be really cool. Long story short, I have a lot of these pins because my mom used to sew. And typically when I do like particularly laying down the hair, I'll put the glue down wherever I want to. Like, I do it in rounds. I don't fully do the hair in one go. And then I just take a little pin, you know, and pin it against the head to help lay down the hair so it doesn't pull apart. But I did get Belle done. I have been meaning to finish Rapunzel. She is killing me over here. This is what we've got right now for Rapunzel. The hair detail was really throwing me off because we got some crazy long hair. So what I ended up deciding to do is I did this little crown with the front bands of the hair, and then it comes down into this braid. I have like little stitch markers holding this together. I need to tie it, but I was going back and forth. I think I'm gonna use an acrylic to tie it because I don't like using Chanel to tie things off because then it frays. Even if you burn it, you pick at it enough times, it's gonna fray. I usually prefer to use acrylic yarn when I have to tie items. So I just gotta figure out what acrylic yarn, and then I am gonna figure out how I want to place some flowers around the head. I'm thinking maybe around this whole band. I don't know. I'm gonna play with it. And then last night I went ahead and started working on Jasmine because Jasmine was pretty highly requested by people over on TikTok. If you guys watch any of my short form videos, I usually ask you guys which items you want to see next, whether it's Pokemon characters, and Jasmine was pretty requested. So I am working on Jasmine next, and she shouldn't be too hard because she doesn't really have anything crazy. Her hair's pretty straightforward, so I should have her done soon. That's the hope, right? I finished up this Toby, and this is a pattern by Hooked on Toast. You have to have her Tofu the Cat pattern to be able to do this one, and then you buy the Tofu the Cat and then you buy the bee modification. So I can't remember how much it is in total. I think for both of them it's like under 10. I'm pretty certain all of her patterns at this point. But I went ahead and made her Toby. It's super cute. These are 25mm eyes, so this is like the first time I've whipped out some 25mm in a long time, and this is in Starlight. I was going back and forth between Starlight and Nightfall, so if I make another one, I'll probably make it in Nightfall to have the contrasting black eyes. But I think it turned out so stinking cute. Absolutely love it. I finished it up last night. I'll probably talk about it a little bit more in the next vlog because, yeah, I need to end this vlog because it's gonna get really, really big really fast. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned, guys. It is July 2nd when I'm recording this ending, and that means Knotty Pony is going to be here in weeks at this point, like 3 weeks. Make sure you're following my Instagram because I'm posting a lot more daily stuff on Knotty Pony on my Instagram, and my Instagram is always going to be up to date and current. My YouTube is always going to be a week to 2 weeks behind my real life typically because I'm not the fastest editor. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!